and it's New Year's Eve. We'll wait a little longer. And one of my favorite all-time podcasters, Scott Adams, if you don't know him, you might want to check him out, always talks about the simultaneous sip. But in his podcasts, he does it with a cup of coffee. And since we are meeting on New Year's Eve, we have something more exciting tonight. So the simultaneous sip until we get started, and I give you some information tonight. If you don't have champagne, make it wine. If it's not wine, make it something else that's fun and exciting. Happy New Year, Kathy. Hi, Natalie. Hi, Shannon. It's wonderful to see everyone. Hi, another Kathy, Amanda, Perry. So we'll wait just a few more minutes so that everyone can collect themselves and we can get started. And we'll get going. This is not going to be long tonight. Last time we met last week, I completely botched this whole podcast up. My technology knowledge is minimal. So I think we're going to do a little bit better tonight. And my goal is to do this every Monday night at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Now, there may be times I won't be able to do it, and we'll let you know on Facebook, but get on my Facebook page and join us, because I promise it will not just be chit chat. We're going to be I'm always going to give you some information, some homeopathic information, and I try to make it a little different than what I've given before. So I've been reading this, or I just started this book by Malcolm Gladwell, and I thought I'd share some information on it. The book is titled Outliers, and it's a great book. I like Malcolm Gladwell. He does some good work. I've read some of his other books. And he says that he believes it takes roughly 10,000 hours of practice to achieve mastery in a field. Boy, does that sound long. It makes you wonder if this formula is applicable to all disciplines. Would it be for sports, or is it just for playing piano, etc.? So I suppose, I was thinking about this, there are some important factors that play into this. For example, one might be what previous knowledge or skill someone already has, that they could synthesize this new information. Such as if you're a baseball player, professional baseball athlete, it wouldn't take that much time to become polished in playing tennis. That makes sense, especially compared to someone who plays pinochle most of their lives. So I just wondered whether or not that would matter. And I imagine it would, because it would move things along a lot faster. And this kind of brought me to the next thought of what I've observed in my students and clients, and even myself. And I note that some people, such as nurses, already have a leg up on learning homeopathy. There are a lot of nurses in my classes. A lot of nurses contact me through the blog. And I think the reason is because they come already with courses in anatomy, physiology, pathology, and not to mention the nurses are the ones who are in the trenches. They observe what drugs can cause in many folks, and they've decided they've had enough of that, and they want to find something different and new and better. I've also noticed not just in nurses, but homeschoolers seem to have what I perceive as a less steep learning curve. I think that's because they've already stepped outside of the box once, out of the public education box or even private education, and realize that if you're going to learn something, you better take it on yourself, because it's not about someone else doing it for you. You've got to just dig in and do it. And I also can't forget those who come to homeopathy already keen for years of taking charge in their lives. They're just take charge people. Either they have large families, they have pets, they have livestock, or they just have that personality that is a take charge and no nonsense. And those are the people I think that could learn homeopathy or learn a skill much faster than others who might not be as motivated. But so then it got me thinking, so what if you're like I was when I first started in this journey of depending wholly on homeopathy? What if you were someone who was just highly motivated? That's all you had. Simply had high motivation. Because that's what I had, was just highly motivated. And I had had it up to my eustachian tubes with conventional medicine, especially for chronic conditions. So, I started learning homeopathy. I only had one child. In fact, I was just pregnant with him. And so I didn't have a sizable brood, nor was I homeschooling yet. And I didn't have any medical background. So then I asked the question, doesn't a highly motivated spirit come to count for something? And I think that's exactly what this author, Malcolm Gladwell, was talking about. So I say a resounding yes. It's all about motivation. And the more suffering we have gone through, the more self-reliant we are, the more suffering we see in our families, the more likely we're going to put a lot of effort in learning this polite, gorgeous, efficacious, powerful medicine. So this is what I did. Not unlike what Malcolm Gladwell proclaims, I was so enamored with homeopathy because I had given herbalism a fair chance, and I still believe that botanicals are very valuable. But I'd given supplements a chance. They kind of fell short. I had given acupuncture a chance. Oh, it was acceptable. I had given essential oils a chance. Not bad, but not until I found this medicine was I able to devote myself to and this is what it boils down to, about 2 to 3 hours a day of study for years. That's 10,000 hours. This is what he says, I'm quoting right now. 10,000 hours is approximately 417 days. He says, if you devote 3 hours per day, it would be approximately 3,333 days, or a little over 9 years, when you would be able to completely master a method such as homeopathy. That's the way I started, because I was starting in classical. However, I've got really good news for you. With this practical method that I teach, you don't need to study a little over 9 years, although it would be great if you did, because it only builds and grows and exponentially fuels your understanding of homeopathy and human health. But what I love about this practical homeopathy that I teach is that you can go to my blog for free, as you know, today, look up a condition and have the remedy. If you have your kit or you have a local store close by, you can start that remedy tonight and get moving immediately. So although it's great to master something, and I urge you to do that because it will only help you in the long run, it is the best part of this method of homeopathy instead of classical, which is why I abandoned it. Even after years and years of studying, using, practicing, writing, and teaching classical homeopathy, this is the method. This is the answer, folks. For those of you who are looking for the kind of medicine that is quick and easy to learn. It's formulaic. So I know you're all waiting to hear the idea that I had for New Year's Eve and for our New Year's resolution. And most of us, including myself, I've just gained a few pounds, in case you haven't noticed, over Christmas and even before then. And I'm back on my diet to lose some weight. And I expect to lose about 12 pounds, and I'll be right about where I want to be. I want you to know that one medicine which is really great for weight loss, and you already know about this medicine, especially if you've been in my mindful class, or you've been watching my blog, or you listen to my podcast, is Ignatia. It is amazing for emotional eating. So Ignatia 200 is the medicine for if you find that you're sad, down, depressed, just even bored, and you start eating emotionally, think of Ignatia 200, not 30, not 6. Although if you look in some of the combination medicines that are out there in the general public, to the general public, for medicines, homeopathic combination medicines for weight loss, they do exist. They're almost always, you'll find Ignatia in there, but they use it in a low potency. And the reason they often use it in low potency is because they're mixing it with many other medicines, and they don't know who you are, and they're not asking questions. Is this emotional eating? But if you find any reason that's emotional, I can't sleep, so I'll eat. I don't feel happy, or I just looked in the mirror and I don't like the way I look, and I'm so depressed, I'm going to go have a brownie. Or what I just had this Christmas, pizzelles and cannoli. So what you want to do is, if you find that this is your attitude, if this is happening to you, and it is very, very common for many folks, more often women, but men too, start on Ignatia 200 twice a day is what I encourage folks to do. You don't wait till the day you're thinking about it, although you could try that too. That's an interesting method. If you're feeling like you want to eat because you're sad, or you want to eat just because you're bored, you could certainly try a dose of Ignatia 200, and it indeed might make the difference. But I would say that if you could find a rationale for using Ignatia, not only for this, but also for perhaps insomnia, or feeling overwhelmed, overthinking, busy in the brain. He said this, why didn't I say that? Christmas is over. Didn't that happen with some of your family members when someone said something and you wish you had said this or that, and you're still pondering that? If you're still pondering that, a few days later, you may need some Ignatia 200. So you use it twice daily, and then you can look for that tipping point, exactly the place where you know you can get the most benefit out of it. And you learn that through experience. Okay, I'm experiencing some real good value here, then I know that now it's time to back off a little bit and try doing without. And if you find that you can do without it for 3 days, then you use Ignatia 200 instead of twice daily every day. You might go to every 3 days. This might happen a week later, 2 weeks later, etc. If you find that after skipping a couple of days, in comes that emotional eating again, and insomnia, or whatever else you may be, satellite conditions that may be revolving around this eating condition, then you may need to come back to it again and use it again and again until you start seeing some really nice results. So remember, Ignatia 200 for emotional eating. And I urge you, if you don't have my Materia Medica, look it up online and look under another Materia Medica and read about Ignatia. It is indicated for grief, but it's not just for grief. It just happens to have a great reputation for being used for grief, to help uproot the sting of grief. So Robert Kiyosaki was someone that I've watched online. I like him very much. If you're at all interested in these folks who teach others how to move forward in their lives, I find it very motivating. He often says that, you want me to read something there, Perry? Oh, I will say that. And he has an acronym under the word, or using the word focus, FOCUS. Follow one course until successful. Follow one course until successful. Focus. And that, my friends, is what I want you to consider strongly this year. Follow your calling to learn how to take care of yourself and your family using homeopathy, and determine that you're going to study it. Certainly study my courses. I'm not going to tell you not to study my courses. I want you to be involved in my courses. But if you can't afford my courses, or you feel overwhelmed in taking a course right now, that's all right. Use the blog and learn from the blog. So I want to give a shout out to my dear friend Joanne, who's in the hospital after an awful accident. We've been communicating, and she's doing so well. Hi, Joanne. Love you, sweetie. New Year's Eve in the hospital. Even a couple years ago, you were in the hospital on New Year's Eve, and my husband and I came to see you. You got to get out of there. Get out as soon as you can, Joanne. We'll be talking, of course, tomorrow, as we do, to make sure that everything is going smoothly for you. So with that, folks, I wish you a homeopathic, healthy, and prosperous 2019, and God bless all of you. Good night, and remember to celebrate. Good night.